nobody notices like 90% of the shit that artists worry about. That's my theory anyway, and I just think perfectionism is the height of arrogance to assume that people are going to give an absolute flying shit. One city, one evening, one bench. I wonder who will be open to having a conversation tonight. Today has been a milestone day. Today was the day that signals 1 year since I released my debut short film 61 Hugs, and I shared some previously unseen footage of me in the States where I had the US premiere. I've been sitting on that footage for, I recorded it in April, it's now September, so that's April, it's like 5 months, and I was looking forward to an ideal time to share the footage because it was a wonderful interview, and I thought, yeah, the 1 year anniversary would be a perfect opportunity to share that. And there was something I said in the interview post-screening Q&A that I forgot I said, and I'm talking about perfectionism and how I used to be a perfectionist. Well, perfectionism was a quality I used to celebrate and embrace and pursue, but in the last year or so I've had a complete switch in perspective and actually now see perfectionism as a hindrance to art, if anything else. And I actually say in the Q&A that I've realised perfectionism just limits your ability to get shit done. And by pure coincidence, I stumbled across an interview with Oprah and a researcher called Brené Brown, and they were talking about perfectionism, and Oprah says that perfectionism is the ultimate fear, and people that pursue perfectionism are effectively scared of people seeing them for what they are and them not measuring up. The more I think about that, the more it makes sense, and there's just so much truth in it, I think as artists, when we're agonising over it needs to be perfect before I put it out, it needs to be perfect, are we really just making excuses? Moreover, I think perfectionism is a little bit arrogant, because what is perfect? For me to say, for example, the short film that I released last year, there were bits in it that I would have changed, but I didn't because I wasn't in a great place at the time for making it, and I just wanted to get the film out. I wasn't too bothered about tweaking specific bits. But who am I to say those bits needed tweaking? Not everybody's tastes are the same as mine. Probably, I have a theory that nobody even notices half of the shit that artists worry about. If not, nobody notices like 90% of the shit that artists worry about. That's my theory anyway, and I just think perfectionism is the height of arrogance to assume that people are going to give an absolute flying shit. So, that is the inspiration for tonight's question. I'm curious to find out whether people think perfectionism is a desirable or an undesirable character trait. It's a Sunday night, just gone 11 PM, so it'll be interesting to see how I get on tonight. I think it's been about 5 or 6 days since I last came out. A little bit rusty, you could argue. Students are back. They returned this week, so I thought there may be some more opportunity to chat to people. While I wait, maybe I should make some... Maybe I should speculate as to what I think people will say. Perfectionism, is it a desirable or an undesirable character trait? I can see people leaning towards undesirable. I use the word people, plural. Some evenings I've spoken to one person, so that's wishful thinking on my part, right? I do think that people I ask, or the person I ask, will argue that perfectionism is an undesirable character trait. So, according to the timer, I've been sitting here for 8 minutes. And in those 8 minutes, not a single human being has walked past. Just as I sat down, somebody walked past across the way, but obviously there was nothing I could do about that, so... I don't mind admitting the irony of me talking about perfectionism, because actually the reason it's been 5 or 6 days since I've come out and attempted an episode is because if I'm to be brutally honest with you and myself, I've not been happy with any of the talking points that I've thought of. And there's been a bit of me thinking, you know, every time I come up with a potential, I've thought, I don't know what kind of answer I'm going to get from that, or who wants to talk about that, or is that a weird thing to ask someone? And it's like, why, if apparently I'm not into perfectionism anymore, haven't I just come out and just asked them the question? I think that's a valid consideration. Why haven't I just come out and just asked anything? Like, who am I to think on someone else's behalf? They might think it's a great question, or a question I think is somewhat bland or mundane. They might think, oh great, yeah, actually something has happened to me that relates to that. So I do think it's ironic that I've come here saying that perfectionism isn't great, but it's been 5 or 6 days since I've come out because I've not been happy with my potential talking points. There's a great irony in there, but I guess humans are fundamentally flawed. So we're approaching 9 minutes of me sitting out here and no one's walked past. Does not bode well. Does not bode well at all. I think I hear footsteps. Okay, so we have a human passing. Finally, let's see the direction this person leans. Oh, no. No. Okay, here's what just happened. A woman on her own walked past, quite close to the gates, so I didn't want to just shout at her. This is, I suppose, with me still being in the early stages of this, I don't want to make anybody, I don't want to startle anybody, I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. I'm quite mindful as a man that just, yeah, I'm going to say it, I'm quite mindful as a man in the current, amid the current conversation of Me Too and so on. I'm very, very conscious of just randomly asking the question, I suppose. Whether it's justified, I don't know. But I am. Hey, dude.
Yeah, man.
How are you?
Alright, man, thanks.
Mate, I'm alright. I have a question for you. Perfectionism, is it desirable or an undesirable character trait? Perfectionism.
I have no idea, man.
Okay. Alright, dude. See you later. You too. He had no idea. Where was I? Yes. I don't know. I don't know if it's justified or not to be mindful of just starting a conversation at night. But I suppose if I don't, then that undermines the whole series concept, right? Oh, there's a surprise. CK overthinking. That almost never happens. Let me share with you, being sat here now for almost 20 minutes, let me talk you through the thoughts that go through the head of me, and perhaps this will be relatable to all, well, not all, to many artists or people who are well versed in the business of toxic self-talk. So I've just been sat here for the last 3 minutes thinking, well, the last couple of times we've come out and tried something, it's not been great. So is this idea as good as you thought it was? Like, what are you doing this for anyway? Is it weird to be sitting on a bench and just waiting for people to walk past? Is that normal adult behaviour? They were just 3 of a catalogue of thoughts, questions, musings that have danced through my skull in the last 3 minutes. And I'm getting better at catching myself when I'm having these thoughts, and I'm quickly catching myself and saying, dude, that is just the silence of your brain and your habit realizing it's not used to silence, it's used to talking, it's used to thinking, it's used to creating stupid thoughts. So that's all it's doing. Ignore those voices and carry on. So I'll ask this guy. Hey.
Hi.
How you doing? Buddy, I've got a question about perfectionism. Do you think perfectionism is a positive or a negative character trait?
Positive.
Positive?
Yeah.
Would you be willing to share with me why? Because I'm having a discussion. I used to be that way. I used to think positive. Now I'm completely not convinced. I think as an artist it kind of holds you back. So what's behind your thoughts on it being a positive one?
Well, it's like, depends on what you're being affectionate on.
Okay.
Like, if it's like...
By the way, say hi.
Like,
carry on.
if it's like small things which don't ultimately affect your life and lifestyle, then sure, you can be affectionate in that time.
Can you give me an examples of small things that don't affect your lifestyle?
Like, say if you're, I don't know, cleaning, for example. In your house.
Cleaner?
You're cleaning in your own house.
Okay, yes, yes.
You can be affectionate in that, because that can like make you feel euphoric.
Can't argue, yeah, okay.
But say if it's your lifestyle, you're doing something, say, in your case, an artist.
Yes.
You can't be, if you're perfectionate in something, then it can also, to a point of when is that being too impulsive, it's like being too perfectionate is now worsening your art.
Wow. What's your name?
Jamie.
Jamie, come join. I have discussions every evening with random passerbys, and I love your thoughts. Come and join me, Jamie. I must delve further into Jamie. Jamie, come on, join me. Join me.
Okay.
Well, okay. Are you an artist, Jamie? But you kind of do you lean personally more towards being a perfectionist or not, like you as a human? And
Well, in my line of work, I'm trying to do science, so...
Are you studying at uni?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's in like that case, then it depends. It depends on the line of work I'm on. Like
being a scientist, you have to be methodical and mathematical. You kind of have to lean more towards perfectionists because they can't really afford for ambiguity. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So in that line of work, what about when Jamie's just been Jamie and he's not got his science hat on?
Oh, I'm not.
You're not a perfectionist. And
I try to be a perfectionist, but
in your normal day you try to be.
Yeah. But it ends up being honest. It's good enough.
It's what?
It's good enough. I can stop at that.
It's good. And which one do you find more liberating? Is it which one do you get most fulfillment out of? Like when you're doing science and you're figuring shit out and you're being a perfectionist, or when you're just being more free flowing as an everyday dude? Which one gives you most enjoyment?
That's like between work and life balance. It's like a balance between those two. Like in work, I'm perfectionist.
As in science.
As in science and that. But then in my lifetime, in my life balance, it's like, yes, do what I do.
Just be chill. Yeah. Just be chill. So would it be fair to say that a healthy balance of two is probably ideal? Yeah. I can't argue with that. Well, Jamie, share some closing words, and I'm going to end this. Any closing words in the world about life, about love, about relationships, about getting paid? Any closing words, and I'll end the video.
Just do what you feel comfortable. Don't get other people to push you into things you're not comfortable with.
I'll take that.
Okay.
Cheers, dude.
It's alright.
Take care, buddy.
You too. Have a
See
good night.
you too. See ya. I don't know whether it's my ask that isn't ideal when I'm saying like, come and join me, and he's like, it's all right. Yeah, because like, I'm willing as an artist to, well, I'm willing as a human to say that when he said, no, it's all right, although it was coming closer, like, how far do I push this? I was like, come on, mate, it'll be fine. Maybe I should have, or maybe I shouldn't have, and I should have just carried on fine. I don't know. This is something I'm going to have to figure out as I progress through this. Maybe I'll look back on this episode and think, you know, if I get into series 5 of this thing, and I'm being more brave in my willingness to just say, mate, just come and join me, and everybody does, I'll probably look back on this episode and say, you should have done that with Jamie. I don't know. Or maybe I'll continue taking this same casual approach. Either way, it's early days, and I'm happy with what Jamie had to say. Very happy with what Jamie had to say. It was only when I got home and played back my conversation with Jamie that I realised his closing words were, just do whatever you feel comfortable with and don't let other people push you into doing things you don't feel comfortable with. Convincing me that had I been more forward and insisted he join me on the bench, I'm pretty sure he'd have told me where to go. And for that, I'm a massive fan of Jamie.